What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Stokastic.com Underdog Fantasy Strategy Show. That's right. Underdog Fantasy back in the house. I did a lot of this with the Fantasy Football Channel, all of the drafts, everything best ball, a lot of pick 'em stuff. Very happy to have them back in the rotation. And today we're not just going to be doing one thing, but two. We're going to be hitting on a live draft, very fun one, 7-game slate today, NBA action, but also going through a little pick 'em, and we're going to try and see if we can go 5 for 5 and 20x. The great thing is Jordan Klein, producing this show, new underdog user himself, just deposited. So he's going to be screen sharing from his account. We're actually going to play these lineups. We're actually going to obviously play these drafts because otherwise you can't do that at all. And we're going to win some money today. Does Jordan Klein keep the money? If we win, I suppose he does, but hopefully you guys win as well. I'm Dave Loughran at Lafayette_D on the Twitters, joined by Neil Orfield at PlayerQDFS, going knee deep into some underdog action over the next 30 minutes. What's up, brother?
Yeah, I mean, Jordan, he keeps 1/3 of it if we win, right? I assume it's his money going in, but like we're making the picks, so like he's got to pay us each a third, right?
I agree. I may actually PayPal him now just
in case,
protect myself. Yeah.
This is a contract to pay me out. You're going to pay a third of the entry fees.
Yeah, I would give him a third of the entry fee. Well, think about it. If we enter the, what is it, like Wobness Day or whatever, that one, it's $5 to enter, but it's 7,500 up top. That's a nice little payout if one of us wins that.
Yeah, we should probably get our money into Jordan to make sure that he pay. What is it, $1.67 each?
Yeah, exactly.
Not bad. All right,
makes perfect sense in my
idea.
opinion.
I should PayPal him too.
Yeah, we should. And God, that would suck for Jordan if we really did PayPal him 167.
And then he wins. Yeah.
I got some drafts in already, though. A lot of fun. I hadn't been doing a ton of the daily drafts, and they're like, hey, we're doing an underdog show. I go, all right, well, let me check this out. Oddly enough, I love it and just kept doing them because they took like 10 minutes, dude. It's not time consuming at all. I already did all my DFS research for today. I already did a DFS show with Adam for the strategy show. Why not dive in?
Yeah, absolutely. When Chris Karen told me that we were going to be doing this, and I was like, hell yeah, we're going to do underdog. He was like, yeah, I knew you'd be excited to do underdog content because I've been kind of obsessed with a lot of underdog products over the past, couple of years, really, mostly best ball. But like this year during the NFL playoffs, I got super into doing these. They're weekly for NFL, but the same kind of thing as these NBA drafts. I really think that there is a lot of edge here, like way more than there is in DFS. Because I think DFS is, it's not a solved game, obviously, but like people are pretty damn good at DFS. Like there's a lot of pros in DFS. This in part because it is, it takes 10 minutes to do one draft to basically make one lineup. Pros don't have as much interest in it, but that's where I think you can find more edge is that people, some of the best players, the people who would be the absolute best at this are less interested, which to me is like, I'm willing to put in that time and do a lot of these drafts every day. So I'm pretty excited about this.
Do you think there are strategies that play into this?
Absolutely. So, to begin with, it's the same, like you got to think about projection and ownership and leverage. All of the same concepts that apply in DFS also apply here. My assumption, and I haven't done a ton of these for basketball, but in NFL, this held true. People don't take risks, unlike players who are questionable. Like people just are not willing to draft players where they should be drafted if they have a Q tag. And I think you can, use that to your advantage in multiple ways. Of course, drafting some players who have Q tags is one way. A lot of people aren't doing it. One way to get different. But then also, like, let's assume that this player is out. Like, if Trae Young and DeJounte Murray would be a great example of like, okay, Trae Young has a Q tag. I'm just going to draft DeJounte Murray a couple picks earlier than he would otherwise be drafted. So maybe wouldn't be drafted in these drafts. You can really take advantage of people being too risk averse in general. I think this is a competition where you can take advantage of that.
Well, we're going to do it all. First, we're going to start with some pick 'em though. See if we can 20x here. And however much Jordan puts on this, I'm PayPaling him a third of that. That's what we're doing. I'm trying to 20x. Now, listen, we've done Neil and I have done some No House Advantage shows. I really dug deep into these today, and I would tell you this: there are a lot more props on No House Advantage, or I'm sorry, on Underdog than there are on No House Advantage. But don't get that twisted in the sense that, like, all right, it's way softer. I can just spray on anything. If there's spots, here's what they've done, right? On No House Advantage, if there's real heavy juice on something, they just won't include it. on Underdog, what they do is, let's say it's like 8.5 rebound prop, juiced heavy to the under, they'll just move, or to the over, they'll just move it to 9, right? So there's no hook. If it's like 9.5 juiced heavy to the under, they'll also move it to 9. You know what I mean? So just keep an eye on that. It's not, all things are not equal, but there are some spots though where they're giving you a line that is exactly the same as other books. There's no juice on these. You're just taking the over, under, or an underdog, as they say, higher or lower. There's no juice. So there are good opportunities. And I say we take advantage of these right now. First thing though, happy to have you guys with us. I'm happy to be doing our first Underdog show here and having you guys join us. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. And if you're just stumbling upon this saying, what is Underdog? I have heard of it, but I haven't played here. Well, use the link in the description or use the promo code Stokastic. Either one, Stokastic, either one of them is going to get you 100% deposit match up to $100. So Jordan here, as you can see on the screen, deposited $20. His account doesn't say $20. His account says $40. You deposit $100, your account's going to say $200. And we play with twice the amount of money we had going into it. So you ready to win some money, Neil?
Let's win some money.
All right. I'll kick this off with one that I didn't utilize our tools for. Could bite me. Didn't use OddsShopper Premium. Didn't use BetPro for. But I do like this quite a bit today based on something Adam and I got into deep on the strategy show this morning. Trae Young. And by the way, look, you guys see it. You go 5 of 5, you're 20xing. I'm going with Trae Young over 37.5 points, rebounds, and assists. The last 2 games, he hasn't got it done, but he went 7 for 8, I think, in the 8 previous games. Forget about that, though. It's a good spot. 37.5 looks nice. But if you go into the old, not everybody knows about this. You go into the play type data over at NBA.com/stats. You can look at pick and roll data for roll men, for ball handlers. Trae Young operates out of the pick and roll as one of the most frequent players, might be the most frequent pick and roll possessions in the league. Nobody gives up more points per possession to ball handlers in the pick and roll than the Washington Wizards this year. So I think this is a spot where Trae can absolutely thrive, carve them up, eat them alive. Give me like a 29-10 type game. Forget about the rebounds, although that'll help us. I'm starting it off over 37.5 points, rebounds, and assists for old Trae Young here in a real good matchup for his skill set.
Yeah, I like that call quite a bit. I would take, so I've just been doing a little bit of research on this Damian Lillard line. We've got Damian Lillard at 34 points. That is just too high. So I kind of want to take the under on Damian Lillard, 34 points. We have him projected for 31.7 points tonight. It's a tough matchup with a Boston team that is 4th in the entire NBA in defensive rating. This is already above Lillard's season average of 32.4 points. So in a tough matchup, I know Anthony Simons is out, so Lillard gets a bump there, but I think the tough matchup kind of outweighs that, or evens that out a little bit. And we've got Lillard 32.4 points per game on average. We've got him projected for 31.7 here, line of 34. I like taking the under there.
I like it. Listen, I like that too in this matchup. The only thing that bothers me is there's a lot of books out there that have the 35.5. And I wish we were getting the 35.5, but I still think I like the 34.5 here. Again, there's no juice. So, if you're looking at 35.5, Bet Rivers minus 121, Unibet minus 122. So there's some other ones out there. Even so, like this is what's crazy, because there's some real fluctuation in this line. This is why OddsShopper Plus is huge, and it saves you a ton of time. Sugar House and Unibet, these are, ones that might not be everywhere. They're in PA. They're 35.5. The under's juiced at minus 121, 122. DraftKings still has the under juiced at minus 120. So a lot of separation across the industry. It's only 1 point, but you would think that the odds on those would be a lot different. But I'm with you, Neil. Let's go. Let's lock it in. We got Dame under 34.5 points. I don't want to do this to you. And maybe I won't. I honestly thought about going DeAndre Ayton under 15.5 points. And it's tough because our tools Bet Pro and our projections like DeAndre Ayton over the 14.5, which you can get out there. He has a 13% usage rate since Kevin Durant joined this rotation 3 games ago. I mean, been extraordinarily quiet, but at the same time, it's only 3 games. It's like it's like 100 minutes or whatever. Maybe I'll keep this on the back burner and we'll monitor this one. And I'll go with Nikola Jokic under half a 3-pointer. Let me give you where I think you can actually benefit from something like this, right? So if you look at the Jokic under half a 3-pointer, and Jordan can pull that up right now, you're just going higher or lower. There's no juice on any of that. If you look at Jokic on other books, though, like let me pull it up on OddsShopper right now, because earlier I was seeing some like minus 135s on the under there, which immediately jumps off the page. Look at this. DraftKings is minus 130 on Jokic 3-pointers. BetMGM's minus 135 to the under. So that's just over time going to make you a lot of money finding those type of spots that are minus 135, minus 130, and grabbing them with zero juice.
Absolutely. Yeah, I like that call. Just comparing to other books is probably a really smart way to go about this. So that seems to be the approach that you're taking here. You, of course, I think have a little bit more experience with prop betting than I do, perhaps. So I really like this approach. I'm kind of learning as we go the best way to find the best lines. And I think just comparing, which obviously that's a big part of what OddsShopper does, is comparing books against each other. I think that's a great way to take advantage of our tools to find the best bets.
Yeah, I mean, think of it like this, right? 57% implied probability on the minus 135. Here it's 50%. So you're getting value in that every time. Let's add that one let's add the Nikola Jokic one here. We'll go Jokic. We've got a couple of others. Damian Lillard. I like that for sure. And I like the Trae Young. You're up to get us to 10x here before we climb the mountain to 20.
All right, so I'm kind of looking at this Kristaps Porzingis fantasy points prop. The fantasy points prop is 41.95 fantasy points. It is just the same scoring as FanDuel, the way they do the fantasy points here. We've got Kristaps Porzingis projected for 45.4 fantasy points. So we've got a little bit of a gap there. And it's looking like, I mean, this game has a pretty close line. It's only a 3.5-point spread currently. So not looking like we have that much risk. Obviously, there's always some risk of a blowout, but it's not a huge concern here in this matchup with Atlanta. And Atlanta's also not that great defensively, 22nd in the league in terms of defensive rating. This is assuming that everybody's in too. So always, when you can take an over and there's some chance that someone was, and nobody's like questionable or anything other than Monty Morris, but like there's still some chance, I think, that Kyle Kuzma, he's missed some games recently. There's some chance that he ends up on the injury report. Somebody else misses some game time. So with everybody in, this looks like a good bet. We just have him projected for nearly 3.5 more fantasy points than what the line is for Kristaps. So I like taking the over on Kristaps Porzingis, and it just looks even better if somebody else does miss the game.
Let's do it. Love it. And by the way, you have who was that comment from? Oh, Jack Off. What a name. Herb Jones over half a block. That's not on here, unfortunately. But when you can find those, like they're not going to post a lot of these numbers where you got like minus 230 on an over or like minus 400 to an under on 3-pointers. You're just not going to get that type of stuff. What's he at? Yeah, that's funny too, because I'm looking at like minus 105 on overs. BetPro's got it at 48% win rate to the over, 52% under, pretty neutral there. The under, of course, both of them -5 and -6% expected ROI. If you like that, though, I get it. Guy that can rack up defensive stats, but we don't have it. Underdog just has points, rebounds. Okay, well then it wasn't for me before. Maybe they just updated it. Let's see. Oh, they added it, and they added steals. All right.
Nice.
They're just adding stuff as we go here. I'll say this much. The win percentage and the expected ROI on steals actually looks better.
Is it half? Is half a steal the line? What's the
One
line
and a
there?
half steals.
One and a, okay, yeah, we've got him projected for 1.87.
Yeah, this guy gets swipes.
Yeah,
but I mean, look, I don't hate the blocks. I prefer the steals. I think I'm actually going to go to. I think I'm actually going to go to close this out. And unless you have another one that you really like, we can go to you here, Neil.
no, I'd be fine going to you thinking about the Hurt, or did you have a different one in mind that you wanted to go to?
I had something else I like a little bit. I mean,
All
I'm
right, if you
so
have one
tempted
that
to go to
yeah.
8 and under 15 and a half points, especially considering it's 14 and a half everywhere else. I wanted to go to Derek White under 13 and a half points. That's one spot that kind of stands out to me here. Our Bet Pro tool likes it a lot. And by the way, if you're sorting by expected ROI, you can do that. Just make sure that the odds aren't out of control. I'm sorting by win rate on these since there's no juice. The Derek Jones, where we got points, 57% win rate. Odds are at minus 109, and the expected value is still 10% on that. We've got him projected for 11.1 points. So
Derek White or Derek
White.
Jones?
Sorry,
yeah,
Derek White.
Okay.
Yeah, I said Derek Jones. I was thinking old Herb there. But Derek White under points here, under 13 and a half points, I think is where I'm looking to go to round this out to get us to 5 of 5.
Yeah, I like that one. We've got him projected, as you said, just for like 11 points here. Team looks fully healthy. Essentially, I mean, no Robert Williams, but most of the key players healthy for Boston. I like that.
Yeah. And who knows, maybe this game gets out of control and he's not, seeing his full allotment of minutes. So I like these quite a bit. We've got Porzingis over fantasy points, Derek White under 13 and a half points, Damian Lillard under 34 and a half points. What else do we have trying to go through my head? Oh, Trae Young over 37 and a half points, rebounds and assists, and Nikola Jokic under a half a 3-point. Really, we're just playing the books here on a lot of these and playing the projections.
Which is the way to do it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's the way we got to do this. That's the way Odd Shopper Premium is set up too. Like if you're using Odd Shopper Premium for this, to get good lines, we just added Underdog to that. That's the way to do it. So also, guys, I know it's a new show. Let me know. Would you rather us do these daily drafts? We're about to do a draft right now. They only take 10 minutes. Would you rather us spend the whole show on these pick 'em and go through and create multiple cards, like multiple 5X or, a 3 and a 4 or 5X card? We could do many of them, mix sports up, whatever it is, using the tools, using Bet Pro, Odd Shopper, all that. Let me know what you'd rather see so we can improve this and optimize it in the future.
All right.
Yeah. We'll do it. Jordan, let's enter a draft. Hopefully we're the last one to enter and we can start right away. $5, 75 up top. What are we still waiting? Okay. Oh, look how
they're filling quickly. Yeah, these are just 6-person drafts.
You do a lot of these. Now you've done a lot of the daily NFL drafts.
Yeah, and they're obviously it's weekly for NFL typically, but yeah, I was maxing those out in the later rounds of the playoffs.
All right. So I may have more experience on the prop betting front than you do. You have more experience on these daily drafts. So I'll let you take the wheel here. Anything like in the first, where are we picking?
We look like we have the second pick.
We're second. Okay. And anything you're looking to do here specifically early on? Like, are we trying to take risks or chances? Or are we trying to play it safe and just go with the highest projected plays?
I think we just go with the highest projected plays, to be honest. Like, I think that, we're not at the stage yet where you need to be doing a ton of game theory, especially because as I was uploading our projections, or rearranging them with our projections, so changing the rankings based on our projections on Underdog, because it's the same stats as FanDuel, I was noticing a lot of big differences between like what we have in our projections and where players are going drafted in these contests. And these contests are super flex. So like positioning doesn't matter. Nothing like that matters. Just straight up, you use our projections as rankings. That's all you need to do to find how these players should be ordered. And that's not how the ADP is going so far. So I think at this stage, we can more largely just use the projections, which would be Jokic here as our second highest projected play after Doncic. So we, would have been nice if Luka fell to us, but I think if we just draft Jokic, that makes sense here.
Yeah.
The first round.
Right. There's no salary. There's none of that. Let's make it happen. So you picked Jokic already? Okay.
Yep.
So we got Jokic. Let me blow this up a little bit so I can see everything. There we go. See everything that's going on here. I'm thinking too, once you get down into like the Booker and Trae Young range is where it gets real interesting to me. Booker's been sick since Durant came along. The usage is 34%. His assist rate's 38%. He's averaging 1.6 fantasy points per minute. Like Durant is obviously going to take away some opportunities, but recently we've seen it be Ayton and Paul whose usage has fallen off a cliff. And even if he's going to take a bit of usage away from Booker long-term, I think it's just more efficiency too.
Yeah, absolutely. You'd expect more efficiency with Kevin Durant out there. Like he's just going to have more open looks, and in general, yeah, I kind of assumed that it would be a negative for Booker, and I think long term it's probably, I would guess, a slight negative to have Kevin Durant there, like to his fantasy points per game. But who knows? Maybe that's incorrect, just because the efficiency is going to be there for him. All right, Booker.
We're not going to get there though. So he's gone.
Yeah, he's gone. Trae Young is gone.
My boy Trey's gone. That's tough. What do we have coming up? So we got.
Has Kristaps been drafted yet?
No. Porzingis is still there.
Kristaps is our 5th overall in terms of projection on FanDuel right now.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was one of those discrepancies that I'm like, man, if the field doesn't do it, he's not going as high as he should be.
Okay. So let's see if we can load him up here. We are on the clock. Let's do it. Let's take Porzingis. I like that. And we're up in just a couple seconds. George, scroll to the top for me for a second. Thanks. We got Kawhi, Paul George. Okay, Kawhi's gone. They're going against the Raptors today.
Yeah.
I'm hesitant to grab some of these Miami Cleveland players with a 214 total. But then at the same time, I did a couple drafts and people didn't want to draft them at all. So maybe there's value in targeting one of these guys because nobody wants to get to this game.
Yeah, we could do that.
I mean, it's up to you. What do you want to do, Neil? We got George, Butler, Siakam, DeJounte.
Let's go with Siakam.
Okay, go with Siakam here.
Okay. Who do we get? We got Paul George.
You're good. Yeah. 30 seconds. Look, it's our first time doing this show. I honestly think we may just go full out like pick 'em cards. We'll see. It's our first show. We'll see how this goes. 30-second clock can be difficult, especially when neither of us are controlling it and we're just telling you what to do.
Yeah.
Makes it a little bit more difficult here. But I'm honestly fine with Paul George in that spot.
Yeah, no, I think it's totally fine. I think that what we could do, so what I do before I draft on my own is I rearrange. So you can actually change your rankings within UnderDog. So I rearrange according to that, which we didn't go over that ahead of the show. But I think in the future we could use my account if we need to, or just make sure we get those up. And I think at some point we are going to have a CSV available from the site. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think at some point we're hoping to at least have that as a possibility where you can just download our rankings directly, upload them onto UnderDog.
Yeah, and DFSR said put him in queue. Yeah, we could star him. The problem is we're trying to see as we go here which guys are this is a difficult. We're going to have to streamline this process. I'll tell you that much.
Absolutely.
Because I always throw guys into the queue as well. Are you actually? We'll make our next pick, and then I have an important question for you here regarding your thoughts on how many like superstars, say like 2 of the top guys from the same team, are you willing to play on a 7 or 6 or 8 game slate?
I think I'm okay with it. You can play 2 together.
So Bam's in a tough spot. See, look, it's all Cleveland, Miami. I don't mind Bam here, though. Like, I think you could get some good value on Bam Adebayo here just because it's a tough matchup.
Yeah, we could go with Bam.
Throw Bam in there. I mean, I really don't mind Bam as at that pick at all. So what are your thoughts, though, if we're talking about this is a 7-game slate today, right? Certain spots are just really ugly.
Yeah.
What do you make of like having a George and a Kawhi or weird spots like that where maybe you could get both of them?
So it's only 2 players. I think it's largely just a tiebreaker for me. Like if I have 2 players that are like ranked back to back, I would maybe go with the one who's not playing with his teammate. Like I'd prefer not to have multiple high end teammates, but it's really just a tiebreaker. Like if Paul George is the highest projected and I already have Kawhi, I think I'd be fine with it. I think Jeremy Grant. Let me see Jeremy Grant and CJ McCollum. Take a look.
I love Pirtle here. I'll be honest with you. Our projections might not love it, but this guy has a massive ceiling.
Yeah, we could go with Pirtle. So he projects just slightly worse than CJ McCollum. I'm fine with that.
You're making the next.
Pirtle has some upside.
He has massive. It's amazing too because he's on a team that has a bunch of guys that Nick Nurse plays for like 40 minutes a game, but Pirtle still has. I mean, he's had some huge games with Toronto since he's come over.
Yeah, for sure.
I grabbed him in a lot of and a few drafts today. I'll be honest with you, just hoping that we get that big Pirtle game.
Nice.
All right, you're firing on this next one. How many picks do we have? We got 4 in so far, 5. Jordan. We got 4. Okay. So we already have Porzingis. So that hurts if you're going to like a Kuzma. We just talked about that.
I'd say J-Val is sort of similar to Pirtle in that he just has an upside against this Dallas defense.
Love it. First lineup I drafted had Jonas Valanciunas and Pirtle in it today.
Nice.
Yeah. Well,
they're very similar.
They are. And because they have a low floor to some extent, the minutes are slightly volatile, but they're great per minute producers.
Yep.
You're going to get them at in a pretty decent range in this draft. Like I think you're getting good ADP on these guys. Whereas like if they routinely played 32 minutes every game, they'd be going way, way higher.
Yeah, for sure.
So there's risk, but
it's the same as DFS. Like that, you love that in DFS, the high volatility players that like just have. Oh, J-Val just went, and it's our turn. Let's see. Can you scroll down just a little bit, Jordan? Scotty Barnes, I think, actually projects pretty well. Can you queue up Scotty Barnes? Let me look.
Yeah, just because we're gonna get hit with him if Neil doesn't hurry up here.
Or Chris Paul would be better, I guess, or Evan Mobley. All right, let's just go with Scotty Barnes.
Going with Scotty Barnes. I think that's fine. Gonna get a lot of run.
Yeah.
I don't hate this lineup. I was hoping we could have landed one of Booker or Trey in that second round. Just not gonna happen based on where we were drafting.
Right.
Really wanted Joe Val there. Really wanted the Joe Val Jakob Pirtle combo. That would have been nice.
That would have been fun. It's a fun combo.
Jordan, how are you gonna feel if this hits for 7,500? Like, what are you gonna? Are you gonna feel pleasure or guilt? Yeah, for sure. Hey, UnderDog promo is Stokastic. Stokastic when you sign up or make life easier on yourself. Use the link in the description or the one that Jordan can throw in the chat. You're getting 100% deposit match up to $100. It's that simple. Plus, if you're already someone that's over on Stokastic.com, we're adding UnderDog to the Bet Pro tool, I think like today or tomorrow. So that's going to be huge. We already added it to Odd Shopper Premium. So we got you covered there on all fronts. Appreciate you guys hanging out. We'll do what we can, Neil, to optimize this and figure out what format works best for us going forward. I think that's important here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just, I'll use my account or send Jordan the rankings ahead of time. Would be easier to do the drafts that way. But others, we can just do the pick 'em cards. Yeah, we'll figure it out as we go.
Yeah. Jordan's in an unenvious position. It's an unenviable position. Not I think he did a pretty damn good job, Jordan.
I have enough shout players at him with 1 second left.
Yeah. Got to be honest. But there it is. 30 minutes up and down. Let's 20x. Let's take home this daily draft, and we'll run it back as soon as we possibly can. I'm gonna go put another draft in right after this show, Neil. And we'll see how
maybe I'll see you there.
Yeah, maybe you will. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Links in the description and chat, or just use the promo code Stokastic, get the promo bonus. And follow Neil at PlayerQDFS, me at Lafayette_D. We'll catch you guys back here soon.